to the Real Estate Success Podcast, where we unlock the secrets to thriving in the competitive world of real estate. Join us as we interview industry-leading realtors who share their journeys, strategies, and lessons learned on the path to success. Be sure to tune in as we dive into the keys to building and sustaining a profitable real estate business. And now, here is your host, Leland Gross.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Success Podcast. I'm Leland Gross, certified financial planner and the founder of PeaceLink Financial Planning and Accounting, where we work with realtors to help manage their finances and grow their business. My guest on today's episode is Owen Thatcher, a Richmond-based realtor whose story is a powerful testament to the value of grit, relationships, and taking smart risks. Owen didn't take the traditional path into real estate. He started in construction equipment sales, tested the waters in various sales roles, and ultimately took a leap, leaving behind a salaried job, benefits, and stability while his wife was still in grad school, to join his brother-in-law and chase a calling he couldn't ignore. In this conversation, Owen shares how mentorship, family ties, and a dissatisfaction with the status quo led him into real estate. We talk about the early grind, being all in, attending night classes, and shadowing every agent he could find. Owen also opens up about the highs and lows of working entirely by referral, the importance of team culture, and how he grew from a brand new agent into a top producer, doing over $16 million in volume. He shares what's changed now that he's 7 years in, how he measures success beyond just volume, and the real costs and rewards of building a values-driven business while raising a young family. And so with that introduction, I hope you enjoy this episode of the Real Estate Success Podcast with Owen Thatcher. All right, welcome Owen Thatcher to the Real Estate Success Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited about today. And Owen, listeners, has been a long time friend of mine and goes back even further with, my wife and some friends from college. But Owen, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. Who is Owen Thatcher?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. My name's Owen Thatcher. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I went to James Madison University for college and met my wife, Morgan. And we moved to Virginia Beach for a year and then moved back to Richmond so she could pursue grad school at VCU. And I've been in Richmond ever since. So I've been here since 2017. I have 3 little kids. I have a 4-year-old, 2 girls and a boy, a 4-year-old named Birdie, almost a 2-year-old named Wesley. And we just had a little boy named Baker, who's 6 weeks old.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's
And a
the
dog.
quick version. I do have a dog.
I know. Congratulations. I can't wait to meet Baker.
Thank you.
So tell us about your real estate journey. When did you get into real estate? And honestly, it's just a different type of job for the fact that it's not W-2, you don't have benefits. There's a little bit more risk going into real estate. How did you find yourself in this field?
Yeah. No, thanks for asking. So I went to JMU and got a business degree in business management. My goal was always to be in sales. My mom was a medical sales rep growing up, has done a couple other kind of sales jobs. My dad was in leasing and technology sales growing up. So just always saw kind of the fruit of what being a sales rep brings, lifestyle wise, relationship, all the craziness of kind of working through relationships. So I knew I always wanted to do that, but I didn't know what type of sales I wanted to do. I graduated from JMU in 2016. I came home to Virginia Beach because I didn't have a job. And kind of from like a relationship aspect, I just started like asking, friends and my parents' friends who owned businesses. And I took a job interview with one of Leland and I's friends, leasing printers and stuff like that. And I met with another guy who sold John Deere construction equipment called Coastal Equipment in Virginia Beach. And they created a role and needed like an inside sales associate. And I was like, man, this sounds really cool. John Deere construction equipment. I kind of grew up in construction, like working for my uncle. And I was like, this would be sweet. So I did that for just over a year. My wife, or then my girlfriend, we got engaged. She was going to grad school, moved up to Richmond to go to VCU. So I was like, all right, I need to get a job. So looked in the same avenues of those construction sales, applied at the dealership up here, John Deere, Caterpillar, an alcohol distributor, which sounded super cool until I found out what their hours were and how much they got paid as a sales rep. And then this company as like a customer service inside sales rep. So I ended up taking that job, but I always wanted to be in sales. I just didn't really know what I wanted to sell. Out of college, it's really hard to go straight into sales unless you do those like entry level kind of opportunities like printers, swag. I mean, no offense, but like financial advising, it was like an avenue that will bring a lot of people on with no experience. So I had this great business degree, which was awesome. And we did entrepreneurship classes and negotiation and stuff, but I didn't really know. So I took those jobs because it sounded cool and I did it. Come to find out in those industries, like I worked for a company up here that did concrete block and hardscapes. A lot of the sales rep guys in those jobs have been there forever. They're either family run uh, or they've been around forever and have those like long relationships. So the track to get into a sales rep role, more or less somebody had to die or retire in order for an opening to be made. So I was really unhappy at that last job. It was 7 to 5, no lunch break, salary, and it had some cool aspects, but 4 or 5 months in, I was like, man, I am not enjoying this. My wife is in grad school, so we're taking out loans. She was kind of working part-time. Um, and one of my at the time, my brother-in-law's brother, he gave me great advice. He was like, if you ask for a job, then you'll get advice. And if you ask for advice, you'll get a job. I spent like 6 months asking everybody more or less who I came in contact with of, hey, what do you like about your job? What do you don't like about your job? Do you like how you get paid? What do you wish you would have known before? So I did that kind of just organically for probably 6 months or so. And, coming into real estate, my uncle in Virginia Beach is a contractor by trade, also is a realtor. And then my aunt, who passed away a couple years ago, she was a realtor in Virginia Beach for 40 years. So my brother-in-law in Richmond also is a realtor. And I was at work and he was like, hey, I'm out. This is probably like 30 minutes outside of Richmond. He's like, hey, I'm down here. Do you want to get lunch? I'm like, sure. So we get lunch. We're sitting there. And I had been in the family for, I don't know, maybe 2 years at this point. And I was like, hey, I never wanted to ask this before because I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, but like, would you let me like work for you? Like, could I basically join in your real estate team? At the time, we had a team called Providence Hill Real Estate. And he was like, yeah, I think you'd be good at it. And I was like, really? I want you to be honest with me. You know, uh, you have obviously experience and you've done this. I think I'd be good at it. I always had talked about doing it with my uncle on the side and maybe flip a property or two, but have like a other job. He was like, no, I think you'd be good at it. I think you should look into it. So during, that job 7 to 5, I signed up for real estate classes twice a week, Tuesday, Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. So I'd go to work all day and then go and take the in-person class. And I did that for 6 or 8 weeks, passed the test first try, and then gave my 2 weeks notice for my salary job that had benefits. Um, with, I think we had been married for a year at that point, but we'd been together for, I guess, 3 years at that point, but we've been married for a year. We didn't own a home yet, but we didn't have benefits. So I quit my job. We had some money saved, but not a lot. And started my real estate career. So that was in August of 2018. Quit the job, took 2 weeks off, and we went out west, rented a car, and camped at some Grand Canyon and Sequoia and Yosemite, and came back and started real estate. And I've been doing it ever since.
It's awesome. So you're in Virginia Beach doing kind of always with this like sales bent, parents did sales. You're working in sales with Coastal Equipment, moved to Richmond, get a job at the concrete hardscapes place, 7 to 5. And your brother-in-law's brother, was he the one that told you to like just start asking people like, do you like what you do? And so you're,
Ask for advice, get a job.
yeah, so you're kind of asking that around and then circle back like a year or so later with him, you're getting lunch and you say, so what prompted,
His brother.
okay, so your
Caleb's the one
brother-in-law.
that gave me advice, who I work with now to this day.
Yep.
Dawson's his brother.
And Dawson's
So,
your brother-in-law.
and Dawson is my brother-in-law.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then you're sitting with Dawson and you're
Yep.
like, okay. And where along the way did it go from, because I know you said like you'd thought about it kind of on the side, but all right, you're asking people these questions, kind of getting curious, and then decide, hey, I want to ask Dawson if I would join him. Like, what was that trigger for you?
I was really, really unhappy at my old job. I mean, I just was not I was not happy. I didn't enjoy what I was doing, who I was doing it with.
Mm,
And honestly, I was like, anything seems better. And I originally was just like, well, let me try it for a year.
mm-hmm,
I mean, I wasn't making great. I mean, I think I was making $44,500 a year. So I wasn't making a ton of money. And the benefits were fine, but I was like, I'm willing to try it. I know
mm,
I'm not going to stay in this job. So I'm going to try it for 1 year and then I'm just going to reassess. And asking, and because I had family in it and because I'd been around Dawson, like I knew, like I knew I wanted to be in sales. I knew I wanted to sell something that was important. I didn't want to sell like a little swag, coaster. I
mm-hmm,
wanted like long-term relationships. I wanted a project management feel where,
mm-hmm,
you know, you basically can get to an end where you're not like constant. Cause then concrete sales, what I found out, those blocks are, they're making hundreds of thousands of blocks a year, and you'll have a client that will leave you over like a penny because a
mm,
penny per block changes a lot. So I knew I wanted to do something in relationships, sold something that mattered, had like a project management aspect. I have a construction background. I mean, I didn't have a contractor's license, but I worked for my uncle in the summer. So like I liked houses, I knew houses, and I really was like, all right, well, let's try for a year. If I make less money, but wake up every day or at least the majority of the year and I'm happier than I was, then okay, I'm in a great spot.
mm-hmm,
You When I met with I met with got lunch with Dawson. Dawson was like, hey, I think you should try it. He was like, go take the class, pass the class. Then I met with his business partner, Elliot. And Elliot kind of interviewed me and was like, why do you want to do it and how you want to do it? And um, he was like, don't expect to make any money for 6 months. And I was like, okay, and graciously, of course, you get into real estate and you start looking at your sphere. And we didn't mention this, but like we only work by referral. We're 100% referral.
yeah,
We've built our business on relationships. So the first thing we're doing is, all right, who do we know? Who can we connect with? I went to JMU and had a lot of friends that moved to Richmond and are from Richmond. So I right away had, one friend that wanted to buy a house. So I made, $3,000 so I started in August. They closed November 15th. So I got $3,000. Then I was doing open houses because I was on a team, picked up an open house buyer, helped them buy in December. Another, $2,000. So really, it was like, is this worth the risk? Let's see what happens. If it doesn't go well after a year, then I'll just apply to other jobs.
mm-hmm,
And after that first year, then I was like, all right, well, change it to like a 2-year window. And it's like, okay, we get to 2 years. So now you're in it for 3 years. So it's basically been that way until it was like, all right, I enjoy this. I'm good at it. Cause what I learned was, and I tell people like when they're either getting into real estate or like through church and stuff, we're around people that are graduated from college. And I'm like, I feel like there's 3 things to a job. You can like what you do, you can like who you do it with, and you can like how you get paid.
mm-hmm,
And if you find one of them, you'll probably be there for a little while, but you're probably not going to be there forever. If you find a job that has two of them, then you're found something sweet. You could probably be there for a long time. And if you find a job that has three of them, you like what you do, you like who you do it with, and you like how you get paid. Like, what else are you looking for?
Hmm.
So I came to realize that I like what I do, I like who I do it with, and I like how I get paid. So then have made a career of it.
I love it. And there is something to like, I like what you said before of, you know, try it out, see how it goes. Like I just wasn't happy before. So if I'm at all happier than I was than I am right now, I'm moving in the right direction. Like very few people get into real estate because they like working nights, weekends, holidays, being on call all the time. But if that was all it was, then nobody would do it. It's like you have this freedom, you have a vision for being able to have more flexibility, do what you want to do, balance your life with it, have unlimited income, upward potential. And so I like the analogy of, or not the analogy, just the thought of, if you like what you do, who you're doing it with, and how you get paid, I don't really understand why you need to leave.
Yeah, and I had the benefit too. Like, yeah, my family was in real estate in Virginia Beach, but I never like learned the job or the process or how to do it or who to do it with. But with Dawson, Dawson had a team. So at that time, I think we had 7 agents. The team had been around for a year. I joined after a year. So I was like the youngest. So Dawson had been around at that point, I think, for probably 7 years, 6 or 7 years. So he had already done it. And I had been in the family with him for 3 years. So like I was learning about it. I guess I wasn't naive to what the job called for. Like,
Mhm.
and I had a team who like, we're going to teach you how to do it. We're going to, my expenses were really low. That was like one of the benefits of being on the team. We'll teach you how to do it. And we have a process that's proven and a strategy that works. You just have to figure out if you're capable and willing to do it.
Mhm.
So it was scary. It was a big risk. I mean, my wife and I joke about like what it was back in the day. But yeah, this job, it was scary, a huge risk. Honestly, still, like now I have 3 kids. I'm still 100% commission. We still don't have company provided benefits. If I stop and think too long about all the people I'm responsible for and how I make money and how we care for people, like it kind of wigs me out. So
Just don't think
I
about it.
just trust the process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust the process. Surround yourself with good people. And now I've been in it for like I just hit, my 7th year anniversary. So now I'm like in my 8th year technically. Like 85% of realtors, according to the National Association of Realtors, don't make it 5 years.
Mhm.
So like for new agents on my team, I tell them the same thing. I'm like, you need to survive 1 year. Then you need to survive 2 years, and then we need to survive 5 years. So I feel like I'm in the group of like I survived 5 years. Now I need to make it to like 10 years.
Mhm. It is interesting. I've heard people talk about just generally like taking the risk into entrepreneurship. Starting like if you're starting something that's very relationship based, like real estate, it's like, all right, year one is just gonna absolutely suck. Like you're lucky if you make money and you just gotta like do it. Everyone's gotta do it. Year two is a little bit like year one, but you at least know what to expect.
Hmm.
And then by like year three, you're like, okay, I've got a rhythm going. Like this is kind of we're doing some stuff here. And then by year five, you're like, if I've made it, likely I've survived enough that I like know how to make it going forward. And it's just kind of like continuing to refine. But the first like 3 to 5 years are it just is what it is. You're like, I gotta get a name for myself. I gotta get reps underneath me. It's, you've got, and for you in your first five, I mean, I'm guessing mathematically your first 5 years, probably six, like you had the COVID years, which was like a lot of unknown, but then like low interest rates, low housing cost. And then you immediately went to the exact opposite: high housing costs, high interest rates, low inventory. Like you've had to survive some market cycles in a very hyper condensed period of time that not everyone has to go through. I mean, there's been, longer strips of time where it's like pretty smooth sailing. And so you've really had to survive a fair amount of that. So you're on the team, you've got the support of the team. What does it look like going forward? And actually, before you answer that, I'm also just struck by the fact that you made this jump while your wife was in school. And you guys had, it was like, well, while we're already just like we're taking out loans,
Yeah.
let's just give away our benefits and our stability of income. Like that really was an extra risk. It'd be different if Morgan had like, oh, Morgan's a salaried, benefited employee, and we kind of live off hers while I
Yeah.
get myself going. Like you guys really went in with 2 feet. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day it'll be different like that. Unless we keep having more kids. But yeah, the 2018, the first 15 months, I mean, you're just trying to hold on. Um, I think where you're going with your question of like, how did the team like help set you up well?
Well, just like what did it look like? All right, so you're on it. The team is, sharing their process, but like, years 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, what was the journey kind of along there from what I think 2018 to now?
Yeah. So 2018, that first like calendar year, I really counted it as like 15 months. In Central Virginia, there's 7,000 agents. And that roughly goes up and down. But like right now, I think our MLS is about 7,000 agents. The majority of them sell less than 4 homes a year. I'm not from Richmond. Like I'd been in Richmond for like a year and a half before I started real estate. So the first, those first 15 months was, how do we tell people that you're a realtor? How do you obviously gobble up as much information from the team so that you actually know what you're talking about? There's a guy, John McGurn, who I share a desk with now still. He's in his late 70s. He's been doing real estate. I'm 31. He's been doing real estate for 31 years. Dawson, like I said, had been in it for 7 years. Elliot had been in it for like 6 years at that point. Caleb, his brother, had been in it for I think 2 years at that point. And we had a couple other agents. So, and we had great like before we're at the brokerage now, they started their own brokerage before we were at another brokerage. So obviously, like I learned a ton. And I jumped in, like what Elliot said was, don't expect to make any money for 6 months, and you have to go all in. You can't just have like kind of one foot in the pool. You got to jump in.
Mm.
So I shadowed everybody. I mean, at that point, we didn't have kids. We had a cat. So yes, we gave up like salary and benefits, but like I said, we weren't making like a ton of money. I knew that Morgan would graduate and then have a job at some point. So that was helpful. But I just shadowed everyone. I did every open house opportunity I could. I didn't have kids. Everybody else on the team at that point had kids. So, hey, somebody's out of town. Can you go show this property? Yes.
Ooh.
Hey, do you want to come with me at this inspection? Yes. Hey, can you cover this closing? Yes. So I literally just did everything. And also like looking at my sphere, who do I know in Richmond? We have all these friends in Richmond who I went to JMU with. We need to tell them that you're a realtor, prove that you know what you're doing. And then, and the team helped out a little bit. Like that first year, I think, with leads, I would do it like alongside somebody. So, maybe got 3 deals that first year. I ended up doing 15 deals my first 15 months. So did that, COVID, those first like 2 weeks of COVID, at that point we had bought a house. Morgan was out of grad school. She had a job. So, and we had benefits, which was nice. But those first like 2 weeks of COVID, I didn't know if I was even going to have a job
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And I had been in the industry for, a year and a half at that point. And we took about like a week off and it was like, all right, let's rock and roll. People want to see houses. And it was crazy. I mean, seeing like the things that we used to do in 2018, 2019, just like to be competitive, was totally out the window in 2020 and 2021. I
Mm.
mean, it was just like Richmond is a very desirable place to live. There's big companies. There's certain areas that are really desirable based on location or schools. I mean, I mean, there were 40 plus showings on houses, 10 to 12, 20 offers. Um, like we were writing on houses where it was like, all right, this house is listed at like 525. Think it could go to 660. And then it would go, and then you would lose it. You'd lose it at 660. And you were like, well, what did it close for? And a month later, it closes for like 680 cash. And you're like, this is just ridiculous. So those years, so then COVID, the benefit of working by referral is it takes a while to like grow that momentum, but like you help somebody, you do a great job, they tell their friends.
Mhm.
Obviously at that point I'm still doing open houses. I still do open houses now, but the majority of my sphere between 2018 and 2021 were all buying their first homes. So they don't have kids yet. We want to buy a smaller house. Let's get in. Interest rates are 2.5. So money was easy to borrow. The hard part was finding houses, like finding a good house, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath rancher. It might be listed at 285. It might sell at like 325. Well, if your max
Mm.
is like 300, you're smoked.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of kind of bouncing on that, from year 1 to year 3, my business went up every year. I mean, obviously as prices go up, that helps with volume. Year 4, I was pretty steady. So that was like 2022. So 2021 to 2022 was basic. I basically did the same amount of volume. 23, I went from 7.5 million in volume to 12 million in volume. And then last year I did 16 million in volume. So,
Mm.
also in these last couple of years, I helped those people buy their first house. Then they want to sell their first house and then go buy their second house. I
Mhm.
already have the relationship with the client. I've established that relationship and the credibility. And now you get to help them twice. So obviously that helps your volume,
Mhm.
you know? Um, but yeah, I mean, like working by referral, we use a CRM that's very like relationship based. How do we care for our clients that basically become friends, especially like friends of friends? I've gotten to the point in my career now, which has been really cool because it used to happen to Dawson. I was like, how do you know these people? And I had it happen, I think 2 years ago was the first time. Two separate people referred me to the same person, and those two people didn't know each other.
Mhm.
So really cool.
So
I've been in
awesome.
business for 7 years. I think I've helped like 130, 140 different like families. And some of those have like double transactions, but it's just really cool. It's like, oh, I helped these people and then I helped their sister and then I helped their parents and then their coworker and then their neighbor down the street. So referral aspect of that is really cool.
I mean, that's like the dream business model, right? Like if you do a good enough job, enough comes in just from, hey, word of mouth, people passing you along. And, there's that sales statistic that like the close rate is like the chance of closing on a referral is like 3 times that of any other marketing lead because they kind of come with some built-in trust.
Yeah.
But it is hard. I think a lot of people, especially like early on, get afraid of any sort of like referral marketing or relying on that. Cause like, what if it doesn't come in? What if it, there's more things that feel in your control if you're like buying leads
Yep.
or, cold calling or knocking. So I do love that, like your brokerage said, like, we are just that's our business model is like, we're going to operate on referrals. We're going to operate on that because it feels a little bit more like the hockey stick of like, maybe it's a little slower early on, but then like once you really get that going, it's so much more fun and healthier. It's so much more relational than like,
Yeah.
I don't really know you. You got me off of like a Zillow search. And you got 3 other people's names off that same Zillow search.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that is, you know, like, realtors. I feel like I know realtors. We have like a shiny object syndrome where, oh, let's try this new thing. Oh, this will be it. This is like the secret. This is the secret to selling more real estate, selling higher valued properties, selling more.
Quick pause. Hey, realtors, if you're earning great commissions, but worried you might be missing something financially, we built a tool just for you. It's our free 2-minute real estate financial health assessment. Don't wait until tax season exposes your financial gaps. In just a couple minutes, you'll see exactly what's strong in your business, where money might be slipping through the cracks, and what to fix before your next closing. Most agents have blind spots they never even think to check. You don't have to be one of them. Just head to realestatesuccesspod.com and get your personalized score and insights in 2 minutes or less. All right, back to the episode.
And that's the interesting part about my career is like 2018, I only sold real estate for like 4 months in 2018. So, well, but 2019, it's like pretty competitive, but not crazy. I mean, around here, maybe 3 to 5% over list price. Maybe you're doing some stuff on inspection. Obviously, the more desirable areas and obviously price points. Like in 2019, if I could help a buyer who could afford a $250,000 house, for me, it was like a huge win. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then 300, I was like, oh, man, 300 grand. Like, we're going to be able to look at so many homes. If we can close them, like, that's even a better paycheck. Cause again, I was like, just trying, like, if I made 30 grand that first 15 months, but I enjoyed it more, I don't really care that I lost out on 15 grand of my last job salary.
Mm-hmm.
But then 2020 was wild because then everybody wanted to buy a house, but then you couldn't physically find the house because you had a 1 in 20 chance, you know, 22 still really crazy. Then we started like really getting aggressive on some of the terms, like with cash. People were making a lot of money. It was still easy. 23 interest rates go up 8.5%. Okay. Now I primarily help first time home buyers, second time home buyers, and I've helped like my friends' parents. But yeah, 23 was wild. 24 was crazy. 25 were like, oh yeah, Trump won presidential change. Maybe that'll help Fed interest rates. Then the tariffs happen. Interest rates don't move. Everything changes. So yeah, each year has been crazy. I think that shiny object syndrome is like the new one now is like, well, AI. AI is going to take it over. AI is going to help you do all these things. There, there's a magazine of like Richmond real producers in Central Virginia. They post the top 200 realtors by volume every month. That list sometimes is like a little off because you have like builders whose numbers are off, who are like offset. They're not actually selling that much volume, but they get the credit from bigger builders like Ryan Homes and stuff. But there's multiple agents. I'm thinking of one specifically. She's in her late 70s. She just is with people, belly to belly, gets lunch, gets wine. She's kind of, I call her the queen. She knows everybody. Everybody knows her. Everybody feels like her best friend. She's not on social media. She's not posting TikToks, and she sells $50 million of real estate a year. And she has an assistant that helps her with transactions. So for me, I'm like, okay, how do I spend time with people? How do I earn the right to be heard? How can I show that I know what I'm doing? And then how do we like win and execute? And then you go tell your friends about me. Obviously you don't get everybody. I think that's the hard part about working by referral too. There's people that you think will use you and you're pretty confident on it, and then they don't use you. And it's hard to separate, the personal versus the professional. And, I strategically, those first couple years, we were used to not having any money. So I didn't really pay myself like we had money. So I had an LLC. I built up like a business bank account so that I could pay myself a threshold or a salary and have kind of like a safety net threshold. Now it feels a little different because now I have 3 kids. So like each of these each of these homes that we help sell and help people, obviously those commissions mean more because, okay, now I have, berries are expensive, man. And I got to pay for berries. People talk about diapers being expensive. Diapers are not expensive,
No, let me tell you about
but
blueberries, man. Those things
berries,
are expensive.
raspberries are $6.99 for a little tin. Both my daughters just ate a whole tin yesterday in one sitting. So like, I have been
It's so
strategic.
real.
The team has been helpful. I mean, it's so nice being able, like, I only am responsible for myself. Like, I'm on a team, but like the team doesn't give me leads. They help me out the like first year or two, 2 to 3 leads of like people we could help with. But the rest of that business is all on me. So we've been able to build kind of those relationships of people who are more or less like being spokespersons for me out in the market. And sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm a man of faith and I just believe that the Lord will take care of me
Mm.
and my family. He hasn't let me down yet, but it is hard. I mean, we are running our own business. The team's been so helpful though of there's people who have gone before me. And the reason why the team got started is because Dawson was doing all this business and then brought on an assistant, but then was just working all the time. You can't go on vacation, and it's like really lonely. It's like really, I mean, you have people around you, but they're not technically changing your life. You might share like a desk with them. So then he brought his brother on. So now they're doing it together. And then they partnered with this other guy who was in business who also had a small kind of team, and they came together and built a bigger team. So I've always been on a team. I love being on the team. The camaraderie, the community, the sharing of ideas. I mean, we did a client appreciation in August with 450 people
Wow.
at the Richmond Squirrels game. I could never do that by myself.
Mm-mm.
I couldn't afford to do that. We do a nonprofit casino night with 150 clients where we like rent out and have like blackjack tables and stuff like that. Like I couldn't do that. We do an Easter egg hunt with like 2,000 eggs, bounce house, ice cream, all free. I couldn't do that, but we're creating experiences. We're bringing value to clients. We're trying to make like an impact in our community and really care for people. And then the benefit is everybody like needs real estate help. And then we just try to show up and do a good job.
It's awesome. I love the able to create community impact and host these events. That's so fun. You mentioned at some point that you were uh, Providence Hill real estate team, but then changed brokers. Or tell us a little bit about that transition. What was that like?
Yeah. So we used to have a team called Providence Hill Real Estate. We were under another brokerage, and Dawson and Elliot, who ran the team, and Caleb, um, said, "What if we tried this ourselves?" So that original team of Providence Hill Real Estate, we left, started our own brokerage. There was, you know, 8 or 9 of us that came over, and it was in 2021. So it was like in COVID. So it was kind of strange because we like no one was going to the office before at our old brokerage. And then, we moved into Gather, like a share space while we were prepping the building that we moved into. But we kind of started small grassroots. I mean, there was like 9 of us. I was along for the ride. I mean, Dawson's my brother-in-law. So I was like, all right, well, let's rock and roll and kind of see what happens. And, um, we went from 9 agents to 73 agents. We have 73 agents now. I need to check our exact stats, but I mean, we're top 5, definitely in independent brokerages in Central Virginia for volume and units, which has been really cool. And we just got voted for the second time for the best real estate brokerage according to the Richmond Times Dispatch, which they are very
Wow.
proud of. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a popular vote. And no, we did not rig it, and no, we did not pay for leads or votes. But
You're at this 2000 Easter egg event. You're like, by the way,
Yeah.
Cast a
Please
vote.
vote. Please vote. Yeah. Text to vote. But yeah, so we've been doing that. But yeah, I mean, it's just the camaraderie of the small team that we have and we still have. So now I'm on a team. Providence Hill Real Estate started the brokerage. The team that kind of broke off from that is called PH Partners. So I'm on a team called PH Partners, and we have 10, a director of operations and a director of marketing. And we're all full-time agents. We all work by referral. We sell about 250 homes a year. And we have a lot of fun and we do it all together.
It's awesome.
But within that team, we're all individual agents.
Mm-hmm.
So I am responsible. I think a lot of people are like, oh, like, what's your salary? What's your base salary?
Mm,
I don't have, there's no base salary. Oh, like, where do your leads come from? I'm like, my friends, my sphere,
mm.
neighbors, you know? So
And like you said earlier, you get like the support of camaraderie, idea sharing. But at the end of the day, it's Owen's doing Owen's business and
yeah,
Owen's production. And you've built a sustainable flow by doing that, which is awesome.
yeah, sometimes it feels that way. Sometimes it doesn't. This is like I had I had a great year last year. They come out with one of the realtors on social media called it your report card, which I love. I think that's hilarious. But I was ranked 197 out of 7,000 realtors last year.
Wow.
So the last 2 weeks of December, I relax. Can't sell any more real estate in December, or,
Right.
in the year that you're in. But January 1st, nobody cares what you did last year. Your bank account definitely doesn't care. Those berries that I have to pay for, they definitely don't care.
They're like, we're only going
Um,
up, man. Get on board or
yeah.
don't.
So it's a wild job. It requires everything from you, but it also can give you the most life. It's a lot of stress. It's a very important job where you're dealing with a lot of money that can be very stressful for people, and that brings out a lot of different emotions and, you know, reactions. And like we tell people, like, I'm really big on education. So, we meet with people, we go over the process. I'm like, I'm really going to train you to be a really good realtor. Like, mentally, you're going to, what to look for, the psychology behind it is huge. But we always say, like, it's a minefield. We're both going to end up at the finish line. There's going to be, hills and valleys and potentially explosions along the way, but we're going to get it done. It's really
Mhm.
scary. You've maybe only done it once or you've never done it, but we get to do it a lot and we have the support of the team. But I mean, it's a wonderful job. I can see why people really like it. It is nothing like what's shown on Netflix. I mean, I wish, like, I wear Lululemon pants for a reason because, like, I'm in crawl spaces. I go into crawl spaces. None of those women on Selling Sunset are going into crawl spaces. I guarantee it. And I don't know if they know the difference between a heat pump and a boiler, but I do. So maybe I should have a Netflix show is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think you guys would honestly have a great one. PH Partners team selling
We could
Richmond.
definitely do it. We
Yeah,
could definitely do it.
selling Richmond. What surprised you the most about your journey from beginning till now, all the way through? Kind of what has surprised you about entrepreneurship, sales, real estate, just what it's been like?
I think it kind of surprised me how many like different hats you can wear.
Mm,
You can go and have the construction background and mindset and how much do these new countertops cost and you know who do you have for refinishing floors and how much is this new dishwasher going to be. You could be like real into numbers like price per square foot and what's the averages and what's the appreciation and how many new homes are coming over in this area and what should sell for what and how it goes. um you know there's a lot of times where you're the therapist,
mm-hmm,
where I'm not a financial advisor, but sometimes you're a financial advisor.
mm-hmm,
You know, so wearing a lot of different hats is also what makes this job so fun I have an idea of what my day's gonna look like. I mean, I'm pretty disciplined. We have an office. I go into the office. Um, I have stuff that I try to accomplish every day. Every day I go home and Morgan's like, how's your day?" I was like, "It's really good, but I didn't finish everything I wanted to finish." She was like, she literally last night was like, "You say that every day." I think the other thing is just it's like really fun.
Mm,
Um, Again, back to those like, what do you do? Who do you do it with? And how do you get paid? It's really fun and rewarding to like, because I've seen people and I've helped people. I had a client, you know, back in 2019, their max budget was like 200. And in Richmond, it's like back in 2019, it was like pretty hard to find a house for 200. That was like a nice house that
mm,
like didn't need a bunch of work and was cared for well and in a good area. And we found this house. They lived in it, they loved it, they took care of it, they did some upgrades to it. Um, you know, 4 years later, um, we sold it for $100,000 more. And they did done some stuff to it, but they didn't do $100,000 worth of stuff to it. So I helped them sell it, helped them make money. Um, then I helped them buy another house that was bigger and they had a baby on the way. And I mean, their whole life has changed because of not because of me. I mean, I just got to be a part of it.
mhm,
So I am surprised by how like invested, and I think most of my clients know it, but like I really care and I'm really like invested in your journey. And I really like care for you.
mm,
And it's hard. You in a real estate transaction, you're talking to people every day, maybe every other day, at least once a week. And then you close and it's like, all right, well, like I'm gonna check in, I'm gonna pop by your house, we're gonna drop off stuff. If you ever need anything, you need a contractor list, something broke, you have questions about a real estate bill, whatever, like we're here. But you know, it's different after you close.
yeah,
So, which is a benefit and a curse. Sometimes you're kind of like, all right, see you later. Don't call me again.
yeah,
Most of the time, most of the time, it's like, oh man. So that's been cool. Those are kind of the surprising things over the years of like seeing people's lives change through real estate. I mean, we
mm,
talk about, why are we in what we're doing? It's like we're trying to help people with generational wealth that will change their life
mm.
through real estate. So
And what was the low point for you, if there was one?
by working working by referral is really great and also can be like really difficult.
Mm,
Um, and I mentioned it a little bit before, but there's people who you think who will use you, and then other people who you would like, they never would use me, and then they use you. But it's really hard working with clients like who don't trust you.
mm, yeah,
And in my first like meeting, typically somebody will refer, be like, "Hey, I've got a friend who's interested in real estate." I'm like, great. Send me their information or send me their information and we have a short call and then we do a buyer presentation typically, or maybe a listing presentation if they're trying to sell their home. And at the end, I always say like, "Hey, I'm very confident that we can do a great job for you, depending on what they're working for. Obviously, not every client like makes sense. Like I don't sell like in Virginia Beach where you are. I'm from Virginia Beach. I love Virginia Beach. It doesn't make sense for me to sell real estate in Virginia Beach. I don't think it would like serve the client well. Same way in like Northern Virginia. I can sell real estate there, but it doesn't make sense. So I always tell people like at the end, I'm like, hey, I feel confident that we can do a great job. This is going to be our relationship. Obviously, there's like paperwork and stuff you have to sign like legally for, contractual stuff wise. But I always say, like, hey, in order for this to work, like you have to trust me and I have to trust you. And if any point in that time you don't trust me or I'm not meeting an expectation that you have or didn't know you had, you just need to give me like call me and give me one chance to fix it. And if I can't fix it, then we'll go our separate ways.
mhm,
Uh, but I think that's like the hardest part is when people don't trust you. Like, I guess I typically am like a pretty trusting person until you do something that makes me not trust you, I guess. But I think that's like really hard, is trust that you thought you had, or losing the trust, or trust I guess you never had, is like really hard working with people, because it's just not, something's not right.
Yeah.
Especially when you're working on the weekends, especially when you're working at night. Sunday night, it's 9:45. You want to submit an offer. They're not looking at offers until Tuesday. Hey, I think we should sleep on it. No, I think we should send it in. And you're like, all right, well, I'll send it in. That's what at the
Hmm.
end of the day, like,
I
I
represent
work
you.
for you,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm also here to protect you. And you're dealing with a lot of money. Like we said, you're dealing with a very important thing that most people only do 5 or 6 times in their life. And sometimes, divorce, death, I mean, loss of job. I mean, when COVID was going on, there was crazy stuff happening. People quitting their jobs, people losing their jobs.
Mm.
So like the trust is just really hard, where it's like really hard. And sometimes, I mean, I'm not perfect. Like I definitely am not always, obviously I'm not perfect, but like, I feel like we do a pretty good job. We do it a lot. And I am always thinking strategically of like what could go wrong and what kind of fires to put out. But that's probably the hardest. By working, I mean, 100% commission, those people are like really important.
Hmm.
They're important to me. They're important to my family. They're important to our team. How can I serve you? Like even onset of like past that is like, I really would like to care for you. I'd really like to help you. I'd really like to help your friends. And sometimes you don't get the opportunity to do that. And that's just like really tough, because
Mm.
they're going to be in that house for a long time. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe you get an opportunity. I mean, can't catch a fish sitting on the couch. Um, but that it stings.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. So this is a podcast about success, but that word success means different things to different people. So for you, how would you define success?
I mean, in terms of where I'm at now, I think like a lot of people would say that I'm successful. I don't know if I like always feel successful. I mean, the basic terms are obviously if I can provide for my family, and, you know, everybody's taken care of and we made it another year, that makes me feel successful. I think being like surrounded around with the team, and like with newer agents and younger agents, and like really helping them become better, I think that's made me feel like successful, in being able to like, what have I learned? What have I been taught? And how can like I help you become successful? Yeah, I feel like financially is the easy one, but I feel like when people start asking your opinions and like valuing your opinions and asking you to be on podcasts, I feel like there's
How about?
some I feel like there's some success indicators.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, Owen, thank you for giving us time out of your day. Obviously, you're a busy agent, you're a busy dad. Time is, almost the most precious commodity these days. And so I just appreciate you giving us time and sharing your wisdom with the podcast. And I'm excited to have you back on in a handful of years and see what years, 8 through 12 looked like now
Mhm.
that you've made it
Heck
past
yes.
the first 5.
That's right. Well, thanks for having me. Been a lot of fun. Happy to be a part of it. And yeah, we'll keep on going, keep on grinding.
Yep. All right. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Success Podcast. Before you go, a quick reminder. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended as tax, legal, or investment advice. The opinions shared by me or any of my guests are just that, their opinions. So if you're thinking about applying anything from today's episode to your life or business, I encourage you to consult a qualified professional who understands your unique situation and goals. If you want to take the next steps, check out the links in the show notes or go to realestatesuccesspod.com to complete our 2-minute financial health assessment. Or you can book a free call with us at PeaceLink Financial Planning, or just get in touch. We would love to hear from you. Now, go forth, forge your path, and prosper.